What's going on, guys, and welcome to Who to Sign For. Now in this series I'm giving you my recommendations on what players to sign for a specific team in career mode, but before we go on I will say that the signings you'll see aren't designed to be realistic, and I cannot stress that enough, and that the player ratings and potential of the players may vary depending on what database you're using and how they perform for you during the season. Obviously you don't have to follow the tips, this is really just a set of guidelines to give you a hand if you're stuck for ideas and want some suggestions on what players you could sign for a certain club. This is mainly aimed at those who are out there who may be new to the game and just need a little bit of advice, or for those who are out there who just want a few recommendations on what players you could sign for a team that you may be using in career mode this year. So yes, in today's episode of Who to Sign For, guys, it's only appropriate we used a team that last night won promotion to the Premier League. Yes, congratulations to Fulham, who have sealed an instant return to top flight football after being relegated 2 seasons ago. 1 year back in the Championship, they're back in the top flight after beating Brentford by 2-1 at Wembley. Have to say, cracking London derby going into extra time, and that free kick as well by Joe Bryan, who provided the heroics with their 2 goals in extra time as well. 40-yard free kick, I think it was just a remarkable strike. A lot of people criticising David Raya, the Brentford goalkeeper, for it. Shouldn't have been beaten from that far out, but really, let's be honest here, who expected Bryan to have a go from that range? It gave me flashbacks to Cristiano Ronaldo's goal in the Champions League semi against Arsenal well over a decade ago now, back when he played for Manchester United, beat Almunia, I think it was. It was an audacious strike from range, and whilst again the Spaniard, he'll be haunted by that moment for years. It was an amazing goal and an amazing playoff final as well. Commiserations to Brentford. They've tried so many times in the playoffs, still can't get over the hurdle, but I'm sure they'll get there, not before long. But yeah, great to see Fulham back in the top flight. Congratulations to them. So yeah, starting off with Fulham then, and as you can see, a Championship team. They are a 3.5-star team, one of the best in the division. They have a budget after wage budget alteration of around £21 million, so a very big budget for a second tier club. And as you can see, their objectives in the first season are to win the league title, go up with the Championship, and reach the round of 32 of the FA Cup as well. Definitely achievable, no doubt about it. It's one of the strongest teams in the division, it's got one of the biggest budgets in the division, and it's got some really decent young talent as well. So as you can see, as I run you through the squad there, they do line up in a 4-3-3. They have 3 players that are currently out on loan right now that I definitely recommend recalling. Those are Fabricio, the Spanish goalkeeper, who is the same overall as your starting goalkeeper, Rodak, and also the 2 central midfielders, Jean-Michael Seri and also Zambo, who are currently out on loan right now. I'd recommend recalling all 3 of those players, putting Fabricio on the transfer list, but starting the 2 central midfielders you recall, as they're good enough to go right into your first 11 and play alongside captain Tom Kearney. I put a lot of players on the transfer list though. You notice there quite a few players had the deals that come to the end of the year. I think it's 11 in total. I'd only give out 2 contracts though. I'd let everyone else go and look to sell on quite a few of the aging players here in the club, such as Stefan Johansson, Tim Ream, both out of contract come the end of the season. Dennis Adoy, Fabricio, who we recalled, Le Marchand, the French centre-half, they can also play left-back as well. Put quite a few players on the transfer list here, because the key with Fulham in the very first season, with a team that's already good enough to gain promotion back to the Premier League, like we saw in real life last night, is just making it a little bit younger, a little bit better for the future, and a little bit better for the present as well. And in terms of new signings with Fulham, where would I look to improve the first 11 with this Fulham team? Well, for me, there's 3 positions that I would prioritise primarily. That is right back, centre back, and right wing as well. And for a new starting right back to replace Dennis Adoy and Cyrus Christie, there are 2 players that I'd recommend more than anyone else. That is Matty Cash of Nottingham Forest, and one of the most common right backs people sign in FIFA career mode this year. That is Max Aarons of Norwich City. The young Canary is a fantastic talent, 73 rated at just 19 years old, and has 85 potential as well. Really awesome young talent. You can get him for around his valuation, maybe just a little bit over that with a little sell-on clause as well. He'll probably take a pay cut in the first season too, and he's better than Adoy and Cyrus Christie, and he's several years younger than both as well. We snapped him up for £6 million to bring him to Craven Cottage. As we know, this guy's absolutely rapid with great agility, good stamina as well, and he got 85 potential as well. He already starts off higher rated than Adoy and Cyrus Christie by 3, and he's several years younger than the pair as well. He'll go right into your first 11, help you defend better, and also be really good when going forward as well. The high medium work rates and the rapid pace as well. So Max Aaron's my number one target. You can get him for again around 5.5 to £6 million. We continue to sell some of our players here, including Le Marchand, French defender. And as for other new signings with Fulham, I would also recommend a new centre-back here at Craven Cottage as well. Now, of course, we've got Terence Congolo, who's on loan at Fulham right now. They've got Alfie Mawson, very good as well. Also, you're going to sell Tim Ream and Le Marchand as well, the American and French centre-halves. But I would still recommend a new starting centre-half in this team to partner Terence Congolo or Michael Hector at the back. And there are 4 targets that I recommend more than anyone else. That's Salisu of Real Valladolid, Bastoni of Inter Milan, Juan Foyth of Spurs, and also Marash Kumbula, an Albanian centre-half that plays for Hellas Verona. Now, all these guys start off around the same age with around the same rating and around the same potential as well. Salisu, Bastoni, and Foyth are all 20 and 21 years old and 75 rated, and they all have 85 potential as well. The Albanian is 19 years old, so the youngest of the 4, but is 1 rating lower at 74 overall, but has 1 rating better for potential at 86. Really, out of all these 4 here, it's just personal preference. They're all relatively similar. A couple of left footers, a couple of right footers, a couple are a little bit taller, a couple are a little bit shorter, but for the most part, they're very similar defenders in terms of their rating and their potential and their age as well. I would say, again, it just comes down to personal preference, which one you would prefer and which one you can get the best value for money deal negotiated with as well. For me, that was Juan Foyth. We agreed a £9.5 million deal with Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspur, signed him on a 5-year deal for £35,000 a week, and we keep him in London here as he goes from north to west, and he's got a fantastic range of stats already, and at just 21 years old, he's only going to get better as well. Defensively, really, really solid and comfortable on the ball as well. He can also fit in right back, which is good for the versatility. Medium-high work rates, 6'2", very well-balanced physical stats, and really, there's not a negative to this guy. He's just a really great ball-playing defender that, again, can also play right back. He's quick, he's got great defensive stats to begin with, and again, passing out from the back with him is not going to be a problem. So Juan Foyth, Salisu, Bastoni, all 3 the same rating, the same potential. It's personal choice really who you want to get there. I chose Juan Foyth, and I certainly don't think it's worth regretting. Worth regretting would be a regrettable signing. But for the night, you saw us sell Le Marchand there. We also negotiated the sale of Dennis Adoy. Once you sign Max Aarons, you don't need 3 right backs, and personally, I'd rather keep Cyrus Christie than Dennis Adoy. They're both 70 rated, but Adoy is 5 years older and out of contract come the end of the season as well. And we also sold Kevin McDonald, the Scot, to Trabzonspor. I can never pronounce his team's name. The Turkish club, Trabzonspor. I can never pronounce their name, but the Turkish side regardless. And we also sold Tim Ream, the American centre-half as well, to PSV Eindhoven. Once you've signed yourself Juan Foyth or Salisu or Bastoni or the Albanian centre-half, you're not going to need Tim Ream in your side. He's out of contract come the end of the season as well, and at 31 years old, he's only going to get worse as the year goes by. So we sold him to PSV for 1.6 mil. And we also sold Cabano to an Argentine side for 1.4 million. I think we got for this guy as well. At 1.7 evaluation? Okay, fair enough. Well, this guy's also out of contract come the end of the season and worth cashing in the very first season. So as we continue to sell quite a few of the aging players here, these are sort of players that you would consider deadwood really. They're not good enough to be in this Fulham team either now or in the future either. The final sale we negotiated was for Fabricio. Of course, he is out on loan in the first season, but again, I always recommend recalling players to have what I call resale value. If you recall them, it'll cost you a small fee of around 250 to perhaps £500,000, but the money you can make by selling them far exceeds the recall fee. We sold into the Belgian side KAA Ghent for 3.4 mil. That's like 3 million over what it costs to recall them. So it's always worth recalling players if they have resale value. They're in their late 20s to early 30s and don't need game time to develop, because you can sell them on for a bigger profit and then look to reinvest that cash in a player you've got far more use for. Speaking of which, one of the final signs we made was in the right wing role. I did discuss it earlier. That is one position I would look to strengthen with Fulham. Once you sold Cabano, you'll want a little bit more depth. Anthony Knockaert is only on loan here at Fulham as well on the right hand side. So personally, what I would do with Fulham is recommend a new inside forward on the right hand side. So a left footed player that can cut inside and shoot from the right on his left and be a source of goals for you all season long. My number one target would be this guy as well. It's Francisco Trincao of SC Braga in Portugal. This dude is absolutely amazing in this year's FIFA career mode. He starts off 19 years old, just 75 rated, but he's got 88 potential. With dynamic potential, there's no reason why you can't get this guy into the low 90s. He's got some amazing stats to begin with. 4-star skill moves, the flair trait as well. You'll get him for around his valuation, possibly a little bit over that if you include a sell-on clause as well. But again, at just 19 years old, a teenage wonder kid, absolutely fantastic stats. And with a Portuguese winger duo of Trincao on the right, Ivan Caballero on the left, both cutting in to shoot on their preferred foot, with Mitrovic being the out-and-out lone striker, you have got a deadly front three with Fulham in the very first season. The two Portuguese boys cutting in as inside forwards, and the big Serbian tank up top as well. That is a deadly front three at Craven Cottage. So Trincao, without question, my number one target for the new right wing role as an inside forward who can shoot on the left. And the fourth and final signing we picked up with Fulham had just about enough money to make one more signing here, and I would recommend a backup left back. When you take over with Fulham, you'll realise you only have the one starting left back in your team, and that is Joe Bryan. Lemar Can can of course fill in there, but you will want a backup left back, not just for cover and for peace of mind, but also someone who can take over from Bryan as the years go by. So look for a talented young left back if you can. We had 3 on the shortlist there: Ortega, Agu, and also the guy that I decided to sign, which is Ait Nouri, who is a French left back, 18 years old, playing for Angers. Starts off 70 rated, so not the best, but he's not going to take over from Joe Bryan in the first season. This is the guy that will be in your first team in season 2, perhaps season 3. 70 rated, 18 years old. You can get him for around his valuation, which is £3 million, and he grows to 85 potential as well. So Bryan's not going to be around forever, but this is his long-term successor. He's an exciting prospect, really nice technicals already on just an 18-year-old as well, with high medium work rates, and he's only going to get better as the years go by as well. So we did what we need to do in the end. Then we strengthened those 3 main positions: right back, centre back, and right wing as well, and also brought in a backup left back for the future too. Sold on some of the deadwood here at Fulham, and again, this is without question one of the best teams in the Championship, not just by star rating, but with some good young talent in the reserves and a really decent budget as well. As you take a look at the full squad there and the list of transfer negotiations in full, we sold 7 players for 11.8 mil and signed 4 players for 30.1 mil. Pretty pricey for just 4 players, but 3 of them being teenage stars for the future, and also Juan Foyth as well. All really great young talent. So despite a net loss of 18.3 mil, I felt very confident this Fulham team would definitely be gaining automatic promotion and sealing an instant return to the Premier League. It's younger, it's better for now, and it's better for the future as well. And that front three as well looks absolutely unstoppable. So as per normal, we would simulate to the end of the season to see if we could hit our objectives of winning the league title and reach the last 32 of the FA Cup. And as you can see, we did indeed win the league title by a whopping 16 points in the end, clear of Nottingham Forest in second place, winning 41 out of 46 games and only losing 2 times as well, setting a new championship record for points on the board in a single season. Although I said before, the league tables in FIFA career mode this year are absolutely absurd. But either way, it was still a dominant season for Fulham, as I expected. Again, this is one of the best teams in the championship in terms of star rating, good young talent as well, and a big budget too. Hardly a surprise we won the league title by quite some distance. As for the Carabao Cup, it doesn't count towards our objectives, but always interesting to see where we ended up. As you can see, we were knocked out in the 3rd round by Premier League side Aston Villa, who were also our adversaries in the FA Cup as well. They not only knocked us out in the Carabao Cup on penalties, but they also knocked out in the FA Cup as well. The board asked us to reach around the 32 stage. Instead, we went one stage further, reached around the 16. So exceeded the cup objective, and once again Aston Villa certainly had our number this season in the cups, beating us in the Carabao and the FA Cup as well. So yes, in the end we hit our league objective of winning the league title. Again, not a real surprise. This is a fantastic Fulham team and more than good enough to be playing Premier League football, and we exceeded our cup objective by going 1 round further than the board asked. And as you can see, the player progression in the first season as well of our new signings here. Ait Nouri, who as you can see is still 3 ratings lower than Joe Bryan, grew 2 ratings in the very first season. So in season 3, it'll probably be ready to take over as starting left back. Juan Foyth only grew 1 rating in the first season. Slightly disappointed about that. I thought it'd grow a couple, but either way, he is still very young in his early 20s. Max Aarons grew 2 ratings to 75 overall. I love seeing all those physical stat improvements there on the new right back in. But as I run you through the team here, you see how they got on in terms of their statistics and the attribute change in the first season as well. Can't wait for you guys to see this, man. The front 3 in the very first season, I said it'll be unstoppable. Caballero with 18 goals in 53. Francisco Trincao, this is why he's your number 1 target. 36 goals in 46 championship games, chipping in with 5 assists as well, and growing 4 ratings too. As a left-footed inside forward on the right, absolutely unstoppable. A new record for most goals in a championship season, I believe. That was remarkable seeing that, man. And again, with Trincao on the right, Caballero on the left, and Mitrovic through the middle, that front three is absolutely unstoppable. The Portuguese wingers and the big Serbian tank up top, no defence will have an answer for your front three in the first season at Craven Cottage. Really fun team though, Fulham. Again, well done to them, gaining promotion to Premier League once again and sealing the instant return. Commiserations to Brentford, but I'm sure they'll be back. But for Fulham, back in the top flight, I would definitely recommend them for an RTG team in FIFA career mode. They've got a real stadium in the game in Craven Cottage, one of my favourite stadiums I've ever visited. The way it backs onto the River Thames is so nice. Strong London rivalry with Chelsea and many other London teams as well. Nice kits, and again, a decent budget and a decent base squad as well. Certainly worth considering doing a FIFA career mode with them. I had a lot of fun rebuilding their team. But that was today's episode of Design For, guys. A big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy today's episode, then please drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of Who to Sign For very soon.